All right, guys, we are going to do some indirect personal self-psychology training. I don't know how perfectly I will make sense here, but I was reading some stuff on the good old classic positive thinking. We all know the famous Norman Vincent Peale book, The Power of Positive Thinking and all that. Most of us at some point or another, we admit it or not, or just have been forced to or not, have listened to some sales trainer, some book, some whatever that presses us on, think positive, power of attraction positive, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be honest, I put value in a lot of that stuff. But I also have seen it fail repeatedly, fail in my own life, fail in others. Why does that happen? Where does it go? And I started doing some research, and hopefully I'm going to be able to tie these together. I didn't have enough time to write it into a speech, but as you know, I don't like doing a speech because I end up reading it like this. So we're going to try to flow as we can. But there were some researchers that did a study. One of the first things to understand and admit about human beings, of which you are one, is we are an argumentative species. We're absolutely an argumentative species. We are this emoticon. And that's not sad, that's the angry one. We like to argue. We love to argue. We love to judge. It's half the fun. How many times have you been out drinking with some friends and you have one of your deep, brilliant conversations and your debates, and those around you, people will stand up as if it is just absolute fact over something that, they normal time of day may or may not have cared that much about. It's for the fun of it. Their inhibitions are gone. They're having a great time. Heck, think how much we love to judge. Why did American Idol succeed? Why do all these shows succeed so much? Because we love to judge people. Why does reality TV work? We love to judge people. It's part of the nature. It's okay. Here's the kicker. Who do you talk to the most in the world? Trick question, I know. Yourself. You have no one that converses with you as much as you converse with yourself. Your self-talk is the dominant conversation that you carry on, whether you're aware of it or not. Guess what that means? It means you also love to argue with yourself. Your doubts creep in, they jump and they go. And these little psychiatrists did this wonderful study, and what they found was this. I need to give them their recognition. Elaine Petronovic of the University of New Brunswick. Either way, when people hear something they don't believe, they are not only often skeptical, but adhere even more strongly to their original position. When you try to give yourself power of positive thinking, if you do not believe it, you are actually reaffirming the negative. To oversimplify, if you go and you Cinderella and you look in the mirror and you've listened to your positive thinking, and I'm going to feel good, and oh, it's going to be a great day, and I'm going to go to high school and they're not going to beat me down, I'm going to be the positive like the good old girls in the TV show, and you look in the mirror and you say, I am beautiful, I am beautiful, I am beautiful. But inside, you really don't believe it. Inside, you really don't think you're beautiful. No, not getting to the reality of whether you are or not. Totally self-image internal, okay? By continuing to say that, your internal self is fighting it and believes even more strongly in the negative impact. I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. No, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. Guess who wins the battle? Not only the bad image inside, but it actually grows stronger. Doesn't mean not to do it. It means be aware of this and don't try to swallow too much. You meet that person that you got to set your goal here. I agree with that. I teach that stuff. I am aim for the stars, hit the moon kind of guy. But if you aim for the stars with the goal, and your self-talk says you can't do it, you actually solidify more the fact you can't, and you're not even going to hit the moon. Make your positive steps chunks you can accept and believe. Build upon it as you go. Now, I want to go over something else that I found in doing some of this research, and this is where I hope I don't get too lost. And I'm going to have Marianne, if I can't get time, I'm going to print some of this out. There's a great quote by Goethe, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. For a man to achieve all that is demanded of him, he must regard himself as greater than he is. For a man to achieve all that is demanded of him, he must regard himself as greater than he is. But if this is true, and this is of limited value, and that is true, how the heck do you do it? And as going through that, I was coming across something by Roy H. Williams, and he makes the quote, "Pomp and circumstance are hollow and silly things, unless, of course, your goal is to cause men and women to rise up and accomplish the impossible." I frickin' love that. We're a nation that is very much gone, and I'm one of the worst, guys. I'm as guilty of this. There's no way. Pot is calling the kettle black. I'm the blackest of the batch. There's been a movement to keep it real. Be honest. No hypocrite. Oh, you're wearing a mask. Oh, it's fake. We're going to keep it like it is. And I'm with that group. I want to make a powerful case for kick that group to the curb and get out of it. Go back. Go join a country club. Go hang out with the others and get some freaking pomp and circumstance. Go join a fraternity. Go join a sorority. Go to the ones. Go to a formal. Go to a winter dance. Go to a banquet that requires you to wear a suit and tie. Get a friggin' award. Get recognition. Strive for the recognition. Why do we love that so much? Well, there's multiple reasons. I can't break it down and say it's just one, but I guarantee you part of it is because that part of us that really wants to believe that we are greater than our self-talk says we are, believes other people more than ourselves. If they say it, if they recognize it, if they give it, it must be true. Conversely, by the way, a little quick side note, pay other people compliments, bless their lives, help them out. Let them know how great they are and how well they're doing. Help them feed the correct beast. Give yourself some. And going through that, I came to an old thing. This is in England. Little description, y'all have all heard of this guy. He's been dead a long time. Benjamin Disraeli was describing a celebration held at Eton College in England. It was held from 1861 to 1847. It has not gone on since 1847. 500 youth of the, let me begin my quote again, reading as best I can. 500 of the youth of England, sparkling with health, high spirits, and fancy dresses, were now assembled in the quadrangle. They formed in a rank, and headed by a band of the guards, thrice they marched round the court. Then, quitting the college, they commenced their progress ad montem. It was a brilliant spectacle to see them defiling through the playing fields, those Braudrick meads, the river sparkling in the sun, the castled heights of Windsor, their glorious landscape, behind them the pinnacles of their college. The road from Eton to Salt Hill was clogged with carriages. The broad fields, as far as eyes could range, were covered with human beings. Amid the burst of martial music and the shouts of the multitude, the band of heroes, as if they were marching from Athens or Thebes or Sparta to some heroic deed, encircled the mount. The ensign reaches the summit, and then, amid a deafening cry of "Florete Tonia," he unfurls and thrice waves the consecrated standard. By the way, the English can be a little hard to follow. It was written over 170 years ago, so the dialect has changed somewhat, and I may have done a poor job. But did you get how cool it was? This was something that was written in 1840, 7 years before it was actually ended because it became a distraction. It had been going on for over 300 years. When the college was began to make sure the students understood the symbol, the power of symbol. Oh my gosh, the power of symbol. We got to cover that more in the future. They put them in the robes, and they took them to a specific hill, and they sprinkled salt on them. And you got to stop and remember how important and how much more difficult salt was to have in those days. And spreading on the knowledge. Young scholars were sprinkled with salt on top of Molten Mound, a hill 2 miles from Eden. The pomp and circumstance of this long-standing tradition gave the boys a sense of importance and purpose and belonging. Did the salt do anything? Of course not. Did the salt do anything? You bet your fanny. Are you telling me we Christians haven't understood this for thousands of years? Baptism, hello? It means something, and it matters. And look what it evolved into. These young men dressed in the robes, the Braudrick fields as they did thrice circle, and then they marched through the parade music and the people cheering. Holy cow. If you got into Eton College, you went through this and you graduated, are you telling me that you are not more likely to be a powerful leader and success, having gone through that ceremony? Why do we so love and honor college university graduations to this day? I think it's kind of tragic that we still honor high school graduations, but we don't give enough value to the ceremony. Some places do, so don't let me lump everybody together. But I want you to pause and think for that for a moment and go back to Goethe's quote. For a man to achieve all that is demanded of him, he must regard himself as greater than he is. Give yourself the tools to be able to regard yourself as greater than you are. And give yourself the tools to win the argument with your self-talk so that you can. And beware of trying to run a marathon the very first day you begin running. Take it from a fat man that can't stand to run 2 blocks. Guys, I hope you get something from it. I got more from this than most anything I've taught in months. So I hope at least some of you enjoyed as well. Thank you very, very much for listening.